give anybody my back. Sorry about that. I am doing this next presentation with the support of 3 members of the team, and they will come on cue. With regard to the Children and Families initiative, we looked at the national situation, and in fact what was very evident was the number of policies, over 20, that were issued by the government between 1999 and 2009. The key points, they're not the only points, but I've selected 5 of the key points that have been repeated throughout these documents. One was childhood obesity and the increase in this year on year. And childhood obesity actually is an issue for us in Ealing because our figures are higher than the national average. The second factor was things relating to lifestyle, socio-economic groups or groupings, cultural elements, and factors within the environment that impact on the health of children and families. Then we've had the decrease in the uptake of MMR. We've also noted that there was a need for local services that are involved and are working with children to work more closely for better outcomes for children and families. And a similar point with regard to how GPs are engaged with the rest of the world that work with children and families, and the need actually to improve that, which we aim to do with regard to this project. We did several things along the road to the journey we've had so far. One of the things we did was a rapid appraisal, and there's 3 perspectives that have been captured within that, and it will be picked up on another slide. We've also developed a child and family directory for general practice, which is something that the practices that I've been working with have asked for. We've been supporting practices to refer to MEND, which is a public health national agenda around the management of obesity. But actually the ages that one focuses on are child entry school and the next point when they enter senior school. We also support GPs referred to SAFE, which is an early intervention, not statutory organization or service, I should say. And to support practices to act on ideas, their own ideas for improving how they work with children and families. What the rapid appraisal showed was that for general practices there was broad agreement that social needs affect physical health, but they weren't absolutely sure about where to refer and how to refer. There was not enough awareness around the different services within the local neighborhoods. And the general practices needed guidelines for referring to those agencies, and definitely would have welcomed anything around self-referral. With regard to the voluntary groups in the children's centers, they, unlike GPs, were better informed about the services available for children and families. And specifically around children's centers, not only were they aware, but they were very keen to work with partners in health, including general practice. Public health, there's several initiatives going on within public health with regard to children and families. These include men and childhood immunization, things that we touched on as part of the process. I won't go into that, it's purely diagrammatic, showing a list of services within the community that impact on children and families at some stage. I think what's key there is the GP is the constant. Hence the importance of GPs working very closely with others. That slide shows referrals to SAFE. The small bar is the bar that represents the percentage from health professionals, and the larger color is actually referrals from non-health professionals. The second slide breaks down the referrals from health professionals. I want to work the wrong way around. So that bar demonstrates referrals from GPs. The next one up, referrals from other doctors, be it doctors who work within child protection or another sphere within primary care. This bar represents referrals from health visitors, midwives, the next one, and that one, therapists or other health professionals. The first bar are the unknowns, the ones for which we do not know who the referral was. So they could be self-referrals. I will now get Dr. Kadan to give his bit of an input with regards to how we've been working with the GPs. Dr. Kadan,
as a GP, all of us have a very limited time, of course. Therefore, Camille Adams contacted us in early this year and came with this project to us. And we found that this is an opportunity for us to take it over. Because in our practice population, we have about 30% of our patients are between the age of 0 to 16, which is very high. And therefore, we face this social problem. People come with diverse problems, such as housing, which affects their health and other issues. And of course, we found that they have other things, such as obesity, which is that children are getting obese nowadays or overweight. At the same time, they have other issues, which is probably maybe drugs and things like this. And because there are local services available to us, such and these services, we need to have really integrate with them, have some leaflets come to us so that we can actually refer these patients to them, because we have a limited time. And I think the integrated care is very important. And what happened is, therefore, we discussed that in our practice meeting, and we agreed in practice meeting that to delegate one of the staff to see what to search for these agencies and to try to find these easier for us so that we don't have waste time with the patients because of the so that these patients can go where it's needed. And some of these patients, they prefer to refer themselves to these services rather than come through us. We had some agencies such as the mental health well-being team. They came visit us, and we found that's very useful because some people need counseling and sort of things, and we have been actually making a referral to them and so forth. Now, our team, Samara, who done actual research and came to us with lots of data, at the same time managed to meet those things and to have the services integrated. Now, I hope Samara will come and tell us about it. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Samira. I work for Dr. Kadan at Dawnsboro's Medical Centre. Not long ago, Camille Adams came into our practice and introduced the Southwood Initiative programme and discussed support for children and families. As a result of this meeting, it prompted me to go out there and try and do some more research and try and find some more help for children and families. So my aim was basically to find local support for this group and introduce these events to some of the patients. So what I did was I personally went and I visited some of these centres, trying to have some form of contact. And just from contacting just a few of these, I found there was actually quite a lot out there. I know there's a lot of people who don't, they're not aware of it. And sometimes just when patients, while they're waiting the appointment time to see the doctor, you kind of get talking to them and you get an insight to some of the problems they face, whether it's social, emotional, whether quite a lot of problems. As we are aware that the internet is not readily available to the public, and obviously another issue was English is not everyone's first language. I tried to incorporate this into our practice by handing out leaflets to patients, by sticking up posters, trying to do it in different languages. Two examples we had was when this patient came along, a small little child, was overweight. So from actually going to these centres, I found a useful contact which I was able to give to the parents of this child, which, it was self-referral. They didn't have to come and see a GP, they can just go there and they'll meet a dietitian. And with this, it would not only help the child, but it would help the child's family as well, so they can kind of get educated. Another one which was for people living in Southall, felt quite isolated, needed some support, friendship, meet other parents, or just just someone to talk to. That also was again a self-referral service where some people might not want to come to the GP, so you can go self-referral or you can go through the health visitor. What me and my team will ensure we do is keep all the information updated, and all the contact details are up to date as well. Some of the stuff I found was also in Camille Adams' directory for children and families.
I'm Mary Thornton, I'm practice manager at Dr. Cairns practice, so we just thought we would share some of the ideas that we've had. After we looked at Camille's directory, we found that was really, really helpful. So we decided that as part of ongoing in-house training with our receptionists, we're going to start introducing this directory to them. And hopefully with that information, as Samira said, a lot of our patients come to us with social problems, and they tend to speak to the receptionists a lot more freely sometimes, so hopefully that directory will be able to use that to direct them towards services that are out there. We've also thought that we would use the directory as part of the induction training for any new receptionists that we get, but not just the receptionists, the practice nurse, locums that we use, make it available in the locum pack as well. If you've got locum packs, I'm sure you'll use locums. We nominated a lead receptionist, named Samira, and she keeps all our notice boards up to date, make sure they're tidy so that the information is available on the notice board, people can see it readily. We've got bilingual staff in the practice, mainly our receptionists. They've all made up posters that are in different languages that are now available in the waiting room. The leaflet stand is kept clean and tidy, so the leaflets are all there readily available, patients don't have to scan through them. We've tried to make contact with the local services that Samira has found as much as possible, and we're going